Firstly, lads, I just want you to thanks so much for coming in. By the way, I saw the trailer; looks great. I just want you to tell me a bit about the film first of all.
Yeah.
Start with yourself, Dermot.
Yeah. King Frankie is the story of. I guess what it's saying on the posters is it's the Celtic Tiger story that you haven't seen yet, and it's about Frank Burke, and it's a redemption story about a guy who kind of, like a lot of people, flew too close to the sun back in 2005, 6, 7, and he got caught at the end of it, and it kind of, we meet him 10 years later when he's in the course of building his life back together, and he's learned some lessons and he hasn't learned others, and I guess it's about that. It's this redemption story about this guy who fucked it, really. Yeah.
It's such an iconic period in modern Ireland. What was it like for you to, I suppose, revisit that and relive it? And do you think you've achieved a kind of accurate representation of it?
Yeah, for me, like, it was interesting on set. We created this world, this hotel. It's Frankie's daughter's 8th birthday party, and he throws it for her at the Rockfield Club or whatever. And there's champagne and there's clowns and there's toy cars and there's all the success for an 8-year-old's birthday party. And it was mad, even the crew on set saying, Jesus, I remember those days. I remember when this shit went on. And if a couple of the characters who you'll meet in the film they're called the lads, and they're really terrible. And even the way they talk and the way they interact with Frankie and the way they behave. Again, he had a lot of people going, God, I remember those guys. I remember people talking like that, behaving like that. So it was a little bit, it was mad. It was a bit of a throwback. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, it was good. Well, it was good to look back, because it's good to see where we've come, but have very short memories. We could find ourselves falling into something very similar very soon down the line. So we definitely have short memories when it comes to those things in this country. But for me as an actor, I suppose, dealing when I looked at it as a human story, about someone who, as Dermot said, got caught up in the whirlwind that was the Celtic Tiger, and it's I suppose what you get a sense of entitlement surrounding what it is you feel like you should have. And I think everyone became that little bit greedier, a little bit more excessive, and for someone to experience that, and then to kind of, within the story, things fall apart and you lose relationships, and the important things in life kind of fall away when you're grasping for something that you think is success or is the most important thing. And suddenly then you're ripped right back down to bottom. And, that separation of the consciousness, and I think nowadays everyone's quite becoming more conscious in their behaviours, like mindfulness and everything that's coming into play. I think you do stuff like that unconsciously, because of the mentality of the lads, or of the mentality of schools, or whatever it was that was driving you toward this success. And then you get a chance when things fall apart and everything is stripped away, and you get the real self, and you get the sense of like being able to redeem yourself. And then for me to play those two different characters was a challenge, and Dermot kindly did it separately, so we didn't, I wasn't shooting one guy one day, but that was obviously image for aesthetics as well. So that was a great chance to do that, in two different parts over the space of a month. It was quite intense, but it was also quite a good challenge. But it's also, it gives you the chance to feel what the idea of it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, I know a lot of people would say it's obviously people were left in disarray, and still at the moment, the country is in disarray in so many parts. But I suppose if, as a person, if you try and turn the mistakes you made into some good, and then people see the effects of your change in yourself, and they try and change themselves, whatever. That was, for me, was the draw.
Okay, you mentioned there that you essentially got to play kind of two characters. I know you said before that I think you mentioned that if you were to play a character, it would be Leonardo DiCaprio's character in The Departed,
right? Okay.
Because of that kind of double life, the duplicity or whatever of that character. Is that something you got to kind of flesh out in the making of this film?
I suppose without even knowing it, yeah. I remember when I said that, but yeah, for sure. I did, yeah. In a separate kind of two separate worlds, I suppose, because you weren't jumping in and out of it. but certainly it was completely two different parallels of performance-wise, energy-wise, and something the second half, I suppose, of it, of someone at like a low ebb and just trying to the human essence of it, and not the performative essence of it, because I think there's a lot of performance not only in the character but in the person of the time. You know, there's a facade or whatever, the mask of what you're trying to put on to.
Yeah,
bravado.
he's if you don't mind me saying, he's just freakishly amazing in this film. Like, as we're talking about, like, we meet Frankie Burke in 2019 after he's had 10 years of I guess, you know, a breakdown and had to build himself back up from nothing, and it's had a huge effect, as it would on anyone, and you can see it in him. And what Peter does with the character is just phenomenal. And then we jump back to, you know, Hightor at the end of the Celtic Tiger, and you see this performer and this it's a mask and everything is on show and everything's very surface level in a way, and it's high risk, and yeah, Pete does a phenomenal job, as he always does.
So it was good. Yeah, I forgot that was something I said years ago. So obviously I put it out into the ether, and it came back.
Because you even mentioned at the time, I think you said that you were speaking to a writer about doing something along those lines, and I was wondering if it was this film, but that's just almost coincidence.
What year? How long ago was that?
That was the interview you did with Andy Lee.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did my research, man.
Yeah, good on you, man. Kudos.
But no, it wasn't us talking.
No, it wasn't us talking. I don't know. Yeah,
it just worked out nicely.
It just worked out nicely.
Yeah.
So keep saying things like that. Keep putting them out there. Like
manifest. Yeah.
Visualization.
And obviously, it takes place against the backdrop of the Celtic Tiger, and that affected, you know, pretty much everyone at the time, particularly the bust, the following, you know, bust. It was a story that kind of needed to be told. Is there any stories from kind of modern Ireland that can be told on the big screen like that? Like, for example, a Bertie Ahern biopic or something along those lines. Do you know what I mean?
That's what you're doing next, isn't
it? No, but well, I do. We touched on it with a film we did, The Guarantee, all those years ago, Colin Murphy wrote, which was, you know, that tumultuous time around this of well, you know, the cause and effect of the banks and the fallout and the bailout, what happened, you know. So discussing someone like David Drum and that world, and Sean Fitzpatrick and everything that went on there, that is something that, for me, and I've said to Colin before, and I'm putting this back out in the ether again, it's worth investigating, because I think people still have a huge amount of questions surrounding that particular situation and what happened. And I think people deserve to have more knowledge about it. I was lucky enough to listen to the tapes to play Drum at the time, so you get to hear what was happening a little bit. But I think, you know, to investigate it more, and Colin Murphy is the man to do it. So I think that surrounding all that time around the Celtic Tiger and the crash, I think there's a lot more questions to be answered.
Agreed. Reggie Snow is in the film, and he would have made a name for himself, you know, in Irish hip hop, big name for himself. How did him being in the film come about?
So Reggie, or Alex, as I call him, we kind of grew up very close family friends. My brother's also in the film, Rob Malone, and himself and Alex were born on the same day in the same hospital, and our mums were side by side in the bed, and not the same bed, but they kind of kept in touch, my mum and Alex's mum Shanda, and then ended up living on the same road, ended up being in the same class in school, Rob and Alex, and I just kind of got to know Alex throughout life, and he obviously has done his own, like, he does everything, and he could have been a footballer, he's a model, he's an artist, he's a hip hop artist, he's one of these annoying people who can just do absolutely everything, and he kind of said over the last couple of years, look, I'd love to act. He's never acted before. And so he plays the role of Sil in the film. It's a small but very important part, and like he does with everything, he's fucking brilliant.
I was going to ask, how did he find that transition?
It was mad. The night before he was due to shoot, he rang me and goes, I can't do this, man. You need to find someone else. I don't, because he was worrying about learning his lines and all that stuff. I was like, man, you fucking writing songs. Like, you have to go out and perform for 2 hours. Of course you can. But yeah, actually, we just met. Yeah, I think we did a good job of making him comfortable, and it probably does seem, I think, a daunting thing if you haven't done it before, even for someone of his level of, you know, success on stage and stuff. But no, he was amazing. Yeah, he really was. I hope he does more. I think he will.
Yeah, he's an inspirational character. But that reminds me actually of when we did Between the Canals, first flick I did, and Damian Dempsey came in to shoot. He was one of the characters in it, and we were in Nocters in Sheriff Street, and he was like shaking with nerves, and he was like, "Oh shit, I can't be doing this. What am I doing?" Like, and I was like, "Man, you play to thousands of people. You know what I mean? Like, and how are you nervous here? But when it's a separate thing, you know what I mean? It's one thing writing lyrics, which, you know, I find one of the most astonishing things for anyone to do, and then put music to it on another level is incredible. Yeah. But then when you're asking to play someone else, I suppose it's just
it's your comfort zone.
It's your comfort zone, yeah. But that's like, you know, it goes to show the measure of these artists who are willing to put themselves out. That's a good thing to do at any level, you know.
Big time.
Even on that, Peter, you've talked about in the past having kind of almost like imposter syndrome, even on the day, kind of showing up and being worried that someone will show up and take your part off you. Is that something you still deal with? You never stop kind of dealing with, or have you found a way to navigate it? I think I found in the last year and a half, I think I found a way to navigate. Like, it happened, I was doing a play, and I was asked to do a play, and I had known the play, a Tom Murphy play, Whistle in the Dark, and I'd read the play umpteen times, and I had always had this character, Harry, one of the brothers. I was like, oh, that's who I play. That'll just be the natural progression for me. I haven't played Fran, haven't played Dots, haven't played these more aggressive characters. And then when the director said to me, what about the older brother? What about Michael? The more, you know, sensitive one, the more thoughtful one, the more downbeat and calm, and, you know, he's trying to put his side of things across in a very intelligent and concise way. And I was kind of taken aback by that. I was like kind of nearly emotionally shot in the stomach, because my older brother's Michael, and like very different people. But it took me a while, and I read the play again from his perspective, and it was a completely different play. Completely different play, and like I was like emotional thinking about it, because like you push down, but like the idea of pushing that down and going through it. So that was a period. Even within that, I was like, fuck, you know, I sat and Brian Gleeson did it, and Sean McGinley played our father. It was an amazing experience. But there were times in the middle of it, I was like, fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? Even my brother could come in and do a better job than this, you know. But as it went on, then, you know, I sank into it, and I started to kind of realize, you're like, fuck, you know, back yourself. Do you know what I mean? I remember talking to Sarah Green about this when she did it in an article a couple of years back, that she was like, I got to a point where I had to trust myself. You know, you've been given these opportunities, you're walking on the set, it's like, you know, put all that behind you, the idea of, am I good enough, do I deserve this role, is someone going to take it, just go here, do the preparation, and then connect with the other actors. So now I kind of navigating that, and finding it's less creeping in, you know what I mean? That's more of my family life now. I think someone's just going to take my children away from me. Just go, you know. I think as you get older, you care less about certain things and more about the work itself. Yeah, okay. I suppose my last question then for the Perrys, do you have any kind of mad Celtic Tiger stories that you remember? Any examples of like people, you know, splashing the cash, or, you know, because we put, as you said earlier, we put up a post yesterday and asked for people's Celtic Tiger stories, and there were some great responses. I don't know if you guys
nothing personally. I would have been 15, so I didn't have that much cash to splash. But yeah, just remember you used to hear people going to fucking New York doing the Christmas holidays shopping, or doing the Christmas shopping, and that type of madness.
A lot of cash is what you just remember. It's kind of similar to now in a lot of ways. Remember, like, people saying this Christmas, like walking around town, like going into jewelers or different places and just seeing a lot of cash being. You know, various people have a lot of cash.
You think we're back near enough to that?
I think there could be parallels. There
were a lot of helicopters back then, weren't there? A lot of people just taking helicopters.
Like big time. I remember like going to the races in like Leopardstown with fucking helicopters left, right, and centre. You were like, who's that? Oh, that's your man coming in. You know what I mean? And even people who were just like on the jolly for a while, but there seemed to be just cash flowing, wasn't it? Like,
but that's the thing, and I think that's what
a lot of this.
Like there always has been that, right? You see it, like there's always the 1% or whatever, and then these mad rich people. But I think what happened in the Celtic Tiger is that everyone wanted that, or everyone felt that was what it was to be successful. And like, you know, if I'm gonna go do my Christmas shopping. I'm going to go to New York. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
And everyone wanted part of that club. And
Just go to Blanche.
Yeah, just go to Blanche.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd rather go to Blanche than go to New York sometimes. But
One-upmanship.
one-upmanship.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
what it was. And it's also, I think we just lost sight of it. It was like, this is going like this, and there's no way it could come down. Like, do you know what I mean? They were giving 110% mortgages to. I actually fucking. Here's a story, right? I know someone who bought a gaff in 2005, 2006 with 110% mortgage, and they didn't have a job. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just because the bank was obviously thinking, you know, oh, this is going to be worth twice as much in a year, so blah blah blah. But it's just
Take me back.
Fucking, I know, yeah, we could do with that now. But yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. Lads, when can we expect to see the film?
We have our premiere at the Dublin International Film Festival on the 24th of February, and although it's sold out in I think 20 minutes, we've just been given another screening at 7 p.m. on the 27th of February, the Tuesday. So they go on sale now, and hopefully everyone gets a chance to see the film.
Unbelievable. Congratulations, lads, yeah. Delighted.
Awesome. Thank you.